Imagine this scenario. You say to your life partner or your business partner, I want to make a real difference. Or perhaps your partner comes to you and says, how can I make sure that my life really makes an impact? What do? Well, first of all, don't be tempted to fire off a ton of different answers. Let's start a family foundation. Let's get into impact investing. Or what about donor-advised funds? I mean, this would be like saying, I want to go to Cannes in the south of France, and your partner saying, well, let's just jump in the car and go. We'll figure it out on the way. Now, don't get me wrong. A family foundation, impact investing, getting into donor-advised funds may be a good way forward at some stage, but not right now. Because first of all, when it comes to your legacy, you need to know where you're going. And secondly, you need a roadmap. So before you do anything else in terms of building your legacy, just stop and ask yourself one question. Are you more like Bill Gates or Warren Buffett? Are you a doer or a donor? Because defining the destination of your legacy isn't about your wealth. It's about defining your purpose. And that's a whole different journey. Your legacy is also about your identity. Who are you and what do you stand for? I mean, these issues, your legacy journey is all too important to leave to chance. So we've built a legacy roadmap, and I'll share it with you now. The legacy roadmap is a 6-step process that'll help you to plan your journey. Where are you headed? What do you want to do when you get there? Who's coming with you, and what have they got in their kit bag? I mean, no vacation is a success just because of the price tag, just like no legacy is a success because of how much you invest in it. In both cases, you need a roadmap. Well, wait a minute, you might be thinking, why? Why do I need a roadmap? I'm an experienced entrepreneur. I know how to go places. I know how to get things done. There's a great book, though, called What Got You Here Won't Get You There by a colleague of mine, Marshall Goldsmith. And I love that title. What got you here won't get you there. Everything that made you successful as an entrepreneur isn't necessarily going to help you building your legacy. That'd be like trying to use a map of the Rocky Mountains to go skiing in the Alps. You need a different roadmap. You're a legacy builder now, not a business builder. And the thing is, you can't afford to make huge mistakes or waste a ton of money. As an entrepreneur, you can fail fast and figure things out as you go. As a legacy builder, your reputation is at stake, and maybe your family's future. And what's more, if you're going to spend your family's wealth on this, and it could be tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars over your lifetime, you've got to make sure that you do something wonderful. Now, if you've already built something wonderful before, if you have a family foundation and it's doing amazing work, something that changes the world, then you probably don't need the legacy roadmap. So you can save yourself 3 minutes and close this video. But if you're willing to challenge yourself to think bigger, then I want to share with you something very significant in the next 3 minutes. And it's this question. How do you tackle the most important project of your life, the defining project of your life, your legacy? And if you want to craft your legacy, where's the roadmap? Well, here it is. The legacy roadmap takes you on a pretty simple 6-step journey. It's simple, but it's not simplistic. And in step 1, we help you to identify the deserving or desperate community that you want to serve. So here's the question. Who is the deserving or desperate community that you most want to serve? In this step, you need to explore this systematically. Who do you want to help and why? You need to ask yourself difficult questions, to drill deeply, to challenge yourself and take your family and colleagues on a journey with you. And in a moment, I'll show you how you can get all the questions that we use to drill into this question of the deserving and desperate community that you most want to serve. But you probably don't need our questions. You can figure this out for yourself. But I do ask you to drill deeply into this question of who is the deserving or desperate community that you most want to serve. And the second question I want you to explore, the second area I want you to explore, is the dimensions of change. How big is the problem facing this community? And how urgent is it? So let's ask the question, how big of a problem and how urgent is this? Now, in this step, you need to figure out exactly why you think this is a problem. What are the dimensions of change? Is it to do with the speed of change, how fast things are changing for your community? Is it about the scale of the change? It's affecting many different parts of the community. Or is it about the scope of the change? There are so many different things that are changing, it's really complex. In step 3, I want you to figure out where is the disproportionate impact that you can create. Not just the impact, you want to create an impact that's like an avalanche, that's a cascade, that's like a series of dominoes. You want to create a disproportionate impact. So here's the question. How can you make a disproportionate impact in this area, the area of the challenge, the problem for your deserving or desperate community? And in this step, you need to systematically figure out where you can make the biggest difference, where you can create a domino effect in this area, where you can create an avalanche, a cascade. And is there anyone that you can partner with to magnify or accelerate the impact that you can create? In step 4, you want to explore the durability or the resilience of your legacy project. Now, for me, this is in part about knowledge management. So here's the question. How can you make sure that what you learn on the way is captured and shared? There's no point in reinventing the wheel. So in this step, you need to explore how are you going to learn as you go? And how are you going to use simple systems to help you sustain your legacy for the long term? Will you codify and capture knowledge in a very professional way like the consultants McKinsey or Bain do? Or are you going to collaborate and communicate and share your learning widely so that other people can benefit? Step 5 is really about the duration or the sustainability of your legacy. So here's the question. How can you make sure that what you do is sustainable and enduring? We're talking about the long term here. If this is to be the defining project of your life, the single most important project you've ever worked on, then it's probably not going to happen. Success is probably not going to happen overnight. So how can you make sure that what you do with your legacy is sustainable and enduring? So in this step, I want you to appreciate the need for sustainability from the very beginning, because it's only partly about funding. And you need to explore the issue of succession. Are you going to pass this on to your family or to professional managers? And not to mention scaling, how you're going to grow the impact of your legacy. You need to explore these issues right from the outset. In the final step, I want you to think about direct responsibility. How much direct responsibility do you want to take of this legacy project? Here's the question. How much responsibility do you feel for serving this community? In this final step in the roadmap, you need to explore this. Exactly how much do you personally want to help and build a legacy that serves? A philanthropist will donate some money, part of their wealth, to serve a community, but through the actions of others, through the legacy that someone else builds. Are you in that category, or are you going to take direct responsibility for building a legacy that serves your community? This isn't a trivial step because you're exploring who you are, how responsible you feel, and what's your personal accountability for change. Let's quickly recap the steps in the roadmap. Step 1, you've got to identify clearly who is the deserving or desperate community that you want to serve. In step 2, you'll look at what are the dimensions of change, how fast are things changing, how complex is the change that you need to effect. In step 3, you can identify what is the disproportionate impact that you can make. How can you create an avalanche of change, a cascade of change? In step 4, you need to understand how you can ensure the durability, the resilience of your legacy project. And in step 5, how are you going to extend the duration or the sustainability of that project for the long term? And in the final step, step 6, how much direct responsibility do you want for making things happen? What this roadmap, what this 6-step process really shows is, are you a legacy builder or just a philanthropist? Don't get me wrong, philanthropists are fantastic people. They share their wealth to make things happen through others. But are you a legacy builder? Do you want to do this directly yourself? Are you a navigator or a passenger? Are you a doer or a donor? What now? Well, if you want help drilling deeper into these steps, here's how. You can download the full legacy roadmap system that we've created that we use with our clients. There are 100 questions in this roadmap to help you drill deep into each of the 6 steps. We've created 6 videos, 1 for each step, and 6 audio podcasts in case you want to listen on the go to the different questions in each step. There's also a 130-page workbook and a checklist to help you capture and craft your unique legacy roadmap. We can't build this for you, but we can guide you to think through each of these steps in the roadmap. So how would you use the legacy roadmap? Well, you can use the roadmap, the videos, the podcasts, the checklist, the workbook. Use them as tools to guide your thinking, your personal thinking, and to build your personal roadmap for the future, for your legacy in the future. And actually, you can watch each module on your own, listen to the podcast, and then you can watch them again with your partner, with your family, or your professional colleagues, and work through the questions together. In other words, you'll use the workbook to build your unique legacy roadmap and change the world. And you can get started right now. In just a few minutes, you can download these questions and these videos and podcasts. And in step 1, we'll explore together the deserving and desperate community that you most want to serve. You'll identify who really needs your help, who will miss out, who will suffer the most unless you step up to make a difference. And when you get started, you can get clear on how you're going to make a difference, how you personally will be remembered. And you can help the people in your life, your partner, your colleagues, your family, help them to get clear on how they can help to change the world. And together, you can build a detailed plan for how to move forward and craft your legacy. Click the link to download the complete legacy roadmap system. Get started now.